how's it going? It's me, Yoko from Japan. Welcome back to my channel. So, as you may or may not know, right now, like right this moment, Trump senpai is in Japan. Before I get started, for those who are new here, I am Yoko. I'm Japanese, 100% Japanese, born and raised in Japan, and I've lived all my life here in my mother country. Alright, and I'm a huge Trump supporter. Okay, with that being said, I know that you guys have been wanting to know the Japanese reactions regarding the state visit by President Trump. So let me try to put everything together in this video. So the very first thing I'd like you to know is that President Trump's character goes across the borders. We don't speak English. And I'm an exception. I'm just obsessed with America, you know. I'm obsessed with you guys. And so what I mean is that there's this cultural and language barrier in between of Japan and the US, and a lot of things get lost in translation, but people still love President Trump, and I will show you the examples. But I'm a big lover of giving premise, so let me give you a little background. Politically speaking, President Trump came here this time as a state guest of Japan. He is not just a state guest. President Trump is the very first state guest in this new era in Japan named Reiwa. The Reiwa era just begun this May, and of course President Trump is the very first state guest, and that makes me really excited, and so are the rest of the Japanese people, a state guest of our alliance. It's really symbolic. And another political side to let you know is that our Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and President Trump has this selfie relationship now. Like, wow, people drawing on the picture even. Like, it's so kawaii, you know. And it's just so much fun. Seriously though, after World War II, Japan and the US sometimes had super friendly couples of our leaders. What Prime Minister Abe and President Trump often remind people of is Ron-Yasu relationship, our Prime Minister NAKASONE and President Reagan. It was just such a shocking thing in a good way that the President of the United States actually called our Prime Minister with his first name. And this American journalist named Martin Fackler. This journalist is somebody that I saw randomly on TV one day, and I sometimes go see his Twitter for reference. And he was pointing out something interesting, and I'll actually read that for you. Nakasone and Reagan boasted of being on a first name basis, Abe taking personal diplomacy into the social media era by establishing a selfie-sharing relationship with Trump. This first name basis is something that we talk about often in Japan, and so this analysis is something very interesting to me. And there's that. Another thing is what I saw on Sankei Shinbun. And Sankei Shinbun is something like this. Like, it's the newspaper that me and my husband read. I mean, he reads. I just look at it and bye-bye. So what I mean is, the newspaper Sankei is the most decent one in Japan. They're the closest to conservative. One of their articles actually showed the list of how the foreign media reported President Trump's state visit. And I saw the part of the New York Times, and it got me angry because they called our diplomacy charm offensive. Offensive. It's interesting because I thought that the New York Times is liberal, meaning they have the understanding of foreign countries and foreign cultures, and they are tolerant and that sort of things. But this charm offensive, like, it's like, I don't know, I'm not a native, so I don't really know the meaning, but from what I can tell from our translation is that it's like looking down on us, you know. It's like they're saying that Japan is such a small country and we have to be like America's pet or something, and Prime Minister Abe is trying to be liked by the US, and you know, it's I hope that liberals in the US will eventually one day have a good understanding of our culture, which includes Omotenashi. Omotenashi.
方言できます。おもてなし。おもてなし。東京大学発表します。
Just look at the video of Crystal Takigawa. I'll link it below. Omotenashi. It cracks me up. she branded Omotenashi in such a cool way, you know, like it's so funny to us Japanese. But there are of course many things going on behind the scenes of the Olympics, but the culture which we call Omotenashi, our own Japanese unique way of hospitality, is something that led us to be the host of the Olympics coming in 2020. Japan is the country of Omotenashi, so I don't know why the New York Times is finding that charm offensive. And there's this Twitter account of Asahi people. Supposedly, Asahi person tweeted and said that Prime Minister Abe has now become the driver of President Trump. And everyone is like, I thought that the host actually drives the cart. Yeah. Lacking common sense. And Asahi Shinbun is the kind of newspaper that conservative people are really angry with. The comfort women issue that we have with South Korea, it came from that newspaper, and they are partnered with the New York Times, so like they're sharing the same building and so on. And actually I think it was their reporter wrote a book. I think it's about American politics, or I don't know, my husband was reading a book by Asahi person, and according to my husband, what he read was that the Asahi reporter went to the States like during the presidential campaign, and the reporter went to the rally of Trump with the name tag saying Asahi Shinbun, but it had the name the New York Times because they are partnered. When he tried to interview the Trump supporters there, he got rejected because he had a name tag of the New York Times, even though he was in actuality like the reporter of Asahi Shinbun. The anecdote is just so funny. And also there's this super duper liberal TV show in Japan called Sunday Morning, and one of the leftist commenter was pointing out how President Trump is not looking in the eyes of Prime Minister Abe. And that's a huge lie that everybody can tell, right? Like there's this bromance going on between the two, and people are like, no way, don't lie. And there is even this tweet with a bunch of pictures, and you can see how many times it's retweeted and liked. Like that's the power of Japanese people. So that's the premise that I wanted to give you, and I should have probably mentioned this in the beginning, but the visit of President Trump is 4 days long. He came on Saturday, May 25th, and he leaves on Tuesday, May 28th. The first day he just came, and the next day Prime Minister Abe and President Trump went golfing, and then they watched sumo, and which I'll mention in a minute. And today President Trump met our current what we call Tenno for the first time in this era. Like he's the very first guest, as I said, and that was exciting. And then they had a meeting together, and then press conference together, and then met the family members of Japanese citizens that are abducted by North Korea. That means a lot to us Japanese, you know, that we can't solve the problem by our own, and President Trump is there supporting us. Of course, like politically speaking, our enemy is the same, like North Korea. Our aims match, but still I get a strong impression that President Trump is actually hearing out our Prime Minister Abe. And they're having this dinner, massive dinner. Then tomorrow, he leaves so soon. Tomorrow President Trump is going to Yokosuka base and then leave. So that's the schedule. So yesterday was such a entertaining day, you know, like golfing and watching sumo and enjoying the izakaya actually. And today was the serious day, right? Doing political things. And tomorrow is the cheer up day, I would say. And people in Japan really loved it that President Trump watched the sumo, and we prepared this special cup to give. Actually, Mr. Hagati, the ambassador, tweeted about it that congratulations to Asanoyama for winning the tournament and receiving the special trophy from Paras. And this special trophy, I believe, is like 30 kilos, like really heavy. It was just so exciting to have President Trump there. Of course I wasn't there, but like seeing that on the news and so on, that makes me really hyped. Sumo wrestling is something that's on TV all the time, you know, when that's in season, and the Japanese version of CNN called NHK always broadcast that. And even though it's available on TV, I didn't see it live. Why? Because I destroyed the TV and I can't see see on TV. But I did see the footage of the event, so I will link it below. You should all watch it too. Watching that, you will realize how much of like a festival vibe going on there.
Asa no yama hideki.
People are loving it, you can just tell. And I will introduce the reactions of Japanese people on this. I'll start with the negative one. This journalist named Shoko Egawa said that those who have a heart about sumo, like traditionally, should boo President Trump. I don't know the reasons, but probably because he's American and it's about our tradition and whatever like that. But this booing is something that those who have a heart should never ever do, right? Common sense speaking. I don't think it's only the political people, but like people just bashed her so much, saying that true sumo fans should be thankful that President Trump actually showed interest in sumo. Some people are pointing out that fans are upset that President Trump is there and blah blah blah. However, in reality, do you see how many people are trying to take a picture of President Trump even though it's too far away? And even this tweet alone, look how many times it was retweeted and liked. And when everything was happening, like President Trump speaking and giving the trophy and so on, I was following the event on Twitter, and I kept seeing people like being excited, you know. For example, people were excited that he read Reiwa 1 because it's our new era and it's cool to hear that in English. I don't know what to call it in English, but we have a paper, like whether it's sports or martial arts, in Japan we have this like huge paper prepared for winners. We call it Hyoshoujo.
Certificate of commemoration.
When you are a winner, you get this card-ish paper as a certificate. I don't know, do you guys have it? Like, I don't know if it's even a Japanese thing, but over here in Japan, we have this ritual, you know, to give and receive the paper, like how we give and how we receive, and it's something that we learn from kindergarten. Whenever there's like a winner occasion, you know, as I said, like sports or martial arts or some kind of artsy things or whatever, like a competition, and at the same time graduation, you know, we get the paper. It actually is a picture of that, but let's pretend that this is a card. I can be wrong, so don't judge me. Like, you should all look for information, but you read it and then you give like this, right? And the receiver get it like, oh, okay, thank you, this and bow kind of thing. I don't know how the giver does the hand, you know, but when you give, you usually use both hands to be polite and give. But President Trump just put it's not that, we're not saying that it's bad or it's not polite enough, or we are not bashing, but it's just so American. You know, everybody was like, oh my gosh, one hand. That's so American. Sorry guys, no offense. We do laugh at it, but not like looking down, but like we just have this warm hearts going on. Oh yeah, and NHK was broadcasting, and when President Trump was reading the paper, on our TV programs, often they have this subtitles to, you know, show what is being said so that deaf people can read what's being said and so on. But as for when President Trump was reading what's written on the paper, it only said English. The entire time he was speaking, just English. It was so summarized. You know how in sports or martial arts there are people like explaining what's going on the microphone, right, for the TV viewers? And the NHK person described the scene saying that President Trump is now about to leave the place, but he's going to the audience shaking hands and so on. And the description was that President Trump is shaking hands with ordinary audience, you know, like an ordinary gallery people. However, it's not like they were politicians or, you know, those public servants, but they were conservative opinion leaders. So they kind of are ordinary people, but they're not really ordinary. So those who are interested in politics are all like, what? What happened was that one of the people that were there, this male journalist, he got the tickets for this special seats, you know, and he gave it to those two ladies, and I don't know if that's true, but that's what I read. Anyway, also there was this tweet saying that President Trump trusted our country enough to be seated at the place, like, you know, security wise, like he's exposed. It takes courage and trust to be seated somewhere like that. So yeah, I personally was impressed that when President Trump went up to give the cup, like a trophy, he actually bowed when he entered the place, like this round circle. I was really thankful that President Trump actually paid respect there. Another thing is that Japanese people are loving the sumo video that White House edited or posted. I don't know if it's like dance cabino power or whatsoever, but the sumo video they posted, it looks so fantastic. I don't know why I'm whispering. White House posting the video, and like people in the world watching and liking the video. We're so thankful. You know, like that's so much commercial. Like President Trump power, guys. I wish that Japanese people had that sense of editing and so on. Could we possibly hire whoever edited the video? Hey, by the way, this is off topic, but if you want to be liked by Japanese people, like if you want to get fame in Japan, try branding Japanese culture and society in a cool way, like they did with this small video. As for that sort of like branding kind of things, we are not good at it. If you happen to be good at those things, please help us with that. Okay, so as for sumo, that's about it. Soon we saw the tweet by President Trump about the trade between Japan and the US. It's hard to read that tweet politically. One thing that we know for sure is that the trade talks will be postponed until, you know, the elections here, but what we are concerned about is whether or not we have double election, meaning House of Representatives and House of Councilors at the same time. It changed the game for us. The analysis that I have seen so far is that for Japan, before the negotiations, which we will probably lose, we have to be done with all the elections and so on, because if we have elections after the negotiations with the US where we lose, then the governing parties won't be able to get votes anymore because of the failures against the US. They want to do everything they have to do before all the negotiations. Then they want to talk about it and compromise a little, maybe or not. I don't know what's gonna happen. It's kind of scary. But what I think as a proud Japanese patriot is that I see the efforts of both leaders in Japan and the US. They're both trying their best to work it out for both countries, you know, that it's not like they want to be mean to each other and fighting each other in negotiations. They want to protect each other as much as they can. You can just tell that they are really talking like, oh, when will be the best timing for you? Probably talking a lot about the timing and what to focus on and the best system, you know. It's just so nice to see that both leaders are trying to cooperate. I saw the news of President Trump saying that President Moon from South Korea asking President Trump to meet him again and again. But President Trump doesn't get along with Moon. So yeah, but that's about it, I guess, for this video. My husband actually came home, so I have to wrap this up. Before I go, what I would like to tell you at the end is that Prime Minister Abe and President Trump has been meeting each other 3 months in a row. Like at the end of April, Prime Minister Abe visited the US, and then this month President Trump came, right? And next month for G20, President Trump is coming again to Japan in Osaka, and so like it's such a bromance period, you know. And what I would like to tell you American people is that I'm a proud Japanese patriot in Japan, and I love America, and I love President Trump, like very, very truly and deeply, like you have no idea. I actually tweeted this, but there are lots of political things that are common But Donald Trump is just an amazing person before being the best president of the United States. And I've been saying this before the presidential election. I'm really like grateful to live this historical moment in the world history, you know. I really thank you, American people, for choosing him as your leader, and also, you know, having this friendship with us Japanese people. We really, I'm not even a prime minister, I know, but as just an ordinary person living here in Japan, I just want to thank you all for having such an amazing leader. So anyway, I'm gonna go now, so please subscribe to this channel if you like this video, and also like and share with your friends and families. If you can, please support me on Patreon so that I can keep creating this free content for you. I'm also on Etsy, and I kind of priced down one of my favorite piece. If you like, please purchase my art, that would be cool. And if you want to talk to me, try Twitter so that I can just jump into conversations with you. Anyway, I'm gonna go, so thank you so much for watching, guys. Have an amazing, fantastic day for me. I'll talk to you soon. Bye!